This week on the podcast, we review Astro Bot and ask if the cute little mascot can kickstart a change in the industry for us and our kids. We also react to the PS5 Pro announcement. And on this week's Pixel Picks Showdown, we crown the best Nintendo 64 game. All this and more on the Pixel Parent Podcast. Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Pixel Parents Podcast, the show that discusses all things gaming from the perspective of parents. I am your host, Liam Kelvin, and today I am very happy to say that I'm once again joined by the bearded one, Scott, the Tastemaker Curry. How are we, Scott?
It's actually broken. Genuinely broken. Liam just farted like 3 minutes ago in the middle of the intro, and I'm still not over it. I'm alright. I'm good. Apart from that, I'm sure hotboxed in this room, but I'm pretty good. You know, appreciate Alex for coming on last week and taking up the mantle. The virtual one. I'm good. I'm happy to be back and ready to talk shite.
Yeah,
talk more shite.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, thanks. Big thanks to Alex for last week's podcast. It was a really, really good discussion. But we both missed you, of course, on that. But it's business as usual this week. I'm sure Alex will join us again whenever he's free in the future. We look forward to that. And he did get his name on the board on the Pixel Picks Showdown, should I add? So
I know. I'm still raging though because nobody mentioned Ken.
I know.
Like, every single Street Fighter character under the sun, and nobody mentions Ken. Like,
it could have just been a work, for all you know.
It's not a work. It's not.
You've just been reeled right in.
So angry. So angry.
Well, I'm of course excited to be back with yourself talking about games. We've got lots to talk about this week because a lot's happened.
It has, eh?
A lot has happened, but let's get some housekeeping out the road and we'll get straight into it. So for those listening, this is the Pixel Parents Podcast, the weekly podcast by parents who game for those who do the same, where each week we discuss all things gaming while raising little ones. And if you want to be part of the podcast, come say hello and share your thoughts with us at Pixel Parents on Twitter, or write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. And if you like what you hear and you want to support the show, you can leave a 5-star review on your platform of choice. And of course, share this podcast online with your friends. It really helps us out. And again, thank you to everybody that joins us each and every week. So with that out the way, Scott, what have you been playing this week?
I'll tell you what I've been playing for the last 2 weeks. So I'd kind of fallen out of love with my PlayStation for a while. Wukong has, you know, it's overstayed its welcome.
Right.
It felt like it was overstaying its welcome for a while. In Chapter 4, Bugville, it was just too much. It just keeps on going and going and going. Chapter 5 was a wee bit of relief. Got to Chapter 5 yesterday and it was short, which is the main thing.
Right.
And Chapter 6, I started that last night, and it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like, this is what the game should have been.
All right.
Like, it's kind of semi-open world. You get your wee flying Nimbus cloud thing, and you can just travel across this vast open zone place. But it's pretty cool. I'm glad that this is the last chapter. I'm ready for it to end now. I've still got Dragon Age 2. I still need to play this bloody game. And I've also, because I've fallen out of love with that for a while, I've been playing Balatro.
Oh, mate.
My God, what a game. What a game that is.
It's happened.
It's finally got me. I had insisted to myself that I wasn't going to buy it, and then I saw it on Switch for like £4, and I was like, do you know what? Let's go for it.
I mean, I'm genuinely worried because it's coming to mobile.
Oh, it's sad.
And that's it.
Is it the death of Marvel Snap?
It might well be.
Pour one out for Marvel Snap. It's just, I don't think I need to say any more than it has already been said, because it's just an incredible, incredible game. Like, who knew poker hands could be so much fun?
Yeah. Ingenious.
It's incredible. So I've been enjoying my time with that, and even though I'd said I wasn't going to buy it, obviously fell into the trap of buying Astro Bot as well.
Of course.
And I am one world down Galaxy, whatever you call it. I've fought the big boss in that one.
Big gorilla.
I think you've seen him in all the advertisements and stuff like that for it anyway. So I've fought him and I've done nothing more. I've just walked about punching Snake. That's all I want to do. Just punch that wee man in the face.
Yeah.
But no, Wukong. It's mainly Wukong. And I think my thoughts from 2 weeks ago are still sort of the same. It's a good game and it's good at what it does. But for me personally, it's just like, I'm ready for it to be over with. Some of the bosses in it as well are just ridiculous. Looking up, cheese strategies online and stuff like that to find ways that you can cheese them. So it's just to get it over and done with.
I love it.
But I do think that I am half an hour to an hour. If I don't get stuck, I'm half an hour to an hour to finishing this.
So
and that's it.
Proper close to the end.
Proper close to the end. And I'll be sad that it's done, but I'll be happy to see it go.
So with all that, because you're pretty much done, right? I think you gave it an 8 the last time. Are you still there?
I think it's worthy of an 8. I think that it does, as I say, it does everything it wants to do well. The combat's good. The kind of world building in it's good. I think it tells part of a story of the whole journey to the West thing. And if this is, the gateway drug for people to become interested in that story, it's done a phenomenal job at it, because I'm like, now I want to go and read more about this and actually understand what this whole thing is about. Who is this monkey?
Yeah.
Why is every single person an animal in a way? Like, it makes no sense. But I had to stop playing it with Chinese voicing as well.
Oh, right.
The dub is great. I mean, nothing. The Chinese voice acting's phenomenal, but it's just that I can't follow it. It's trying to follow the wording on the screen with also the English subtitles. It was really difficult, so I started playing it with the English voice acting and stuff. And the voices are brilliant, and I have to give them that. Sometimes you have this schlocky way, and it's really difficult to follow. Like if you've played any JRPG with English voice acting, for some reason they're all like from like Yorkshire. Like they've all got like weird accents and makes no sense. But a lot of the characters in this are really well voice acted, so it's good. It's very good. But as I say, it's just that sometimes having a boss rush in 6 chapters is horrendous. 50 hours I've pumped into this already.
Jeez.
And I've beaten honestly about 70 odd bosses at this point. It just never ends. There's secret bosses, there's secret levels. I had started initially going down the sort of the beaten path so I could try and get secrets where I could find them. And now I'm just like, I just can't be arsed. I just want to finish this now. Like I'm just dying for this to be over, because it's not I want to play Astro Bot or I want to play Stellar Blade or I want to play Star Wars. I want to play fucking Dragon Age.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely dying to play this bloody game.
Well, you've not got a lot of time left before the Veilguard comes out, so I mean, stick with that Iron's Halt.
I'll be the Herald of Andraste before we know it.
I mean, it's one of those ones, I'm just assuming from what you're telling me that you won't be going back for the Platinum for Black Myth on this.
I don't think it's even worth doing it. I think that there's obviously New Game Plus, and I think you have to reach the highest possible level to upgrade every single thing in the upgrade path. But if you've seen anything to do with this, it's like there's like 142 in one of them, 70 in the other one, and then there's like 4 other ones that have maybe 50 in each. So you're talking maybe 200, 300 levels before you've even finished it. Yeah. And it's like, there's cheese and there's farming routes and all that. Like, obviously, we have to find those. It's like Elden Ring all over again with the blade thing that you would do with the Albinoric things. Yes. But with this, there's a similar one where you can explode and kill all these spider sacks. But it's great. There's one moment in it that, after this, I'll let you obviously kind of continue, but there's one moment where you fight this boss. It's a spider boss, right? And you kill her, and then it just unleashes this. It's like a tidal wave of spiders that follow you. Like, you have to run out of this cave, and they just cave in, and they're like, it's amazing. Like, it looks fantastic. And I was trying my hardest to get it in photo mode, so we could see it, and it didn't work. I was turning the camera around, and they weren't there. So that's the thing with it, is like, it's phenomenal and it looks great, but there are wee moments in it that's kind of like, it just lacks like a wee bit of polish in it. Like, wee tiny things like that, or there's tiny wee moments where it does it jutters. Like in that farming thing, if there's one of the transformations, you can explode, and when you explode, the game stutters for a second and then does it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's great, but it's also it has these wee limitations in it, which might be eased by, a better, more powerful console in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But
hint.
hint. But for now, at least, it's done a job, and it's good. It's great at what it does, and I think that the success that it's had is phenomenal, because it completely deserves it. I don't think it's something that in 3-4 years' time I'm going to be like, oh, remember Wukong?
Yeah.
It's one of those games that I've played now, and I'll forget that I've played it.
I mean, this might be an unfair question, right? But in the last 2 years, there's been 2 games like this. What one would you say is better, Black Myth Wukong or Lies of P?
Lies of P,
Yeah.
100%. Lies of P stuck with me, and I think what Lies of P done better was it created characters better. Like the characters were more fleshed out. Like the receptionist had his own wee story. Like you'd have Geppetto, you'd have all the different characters. That's the only 2 characters I can actually remember. You had the old lady who was in it, who was like dying and stuff as well. Like there was loads of these different characters. You had that one that had like, I think it had like a bull's head, or it had like a bear's head or something, and it betrayed you in the end or something. I can't remember, but it does that significantly better than what Wukong does it. Wukong is very much, this is the path that you're going on, and we're all going along for the ride. And there's maybe one character in the whole game that I've enjoyed. There's a wee, I think it's like Zoo Badgie or something like that. It's like he's a wee boar that walks on 2 legs. So it's a wee human boar with a boar head, and he carries a rake, and he talks, and it's cool. But then he transforms into a massive boar.
Right.
And he always gets launched off of things. There's a moment where he gets launched off this cliff, and he's just seen this boar fly, and it's hilarious. But he's the only character in it where I'm like, that's good. Like, he's brilliant, but the rest of it is just like, the first 2 chapters, maybe not. Towards the end, maybe, but nah.
Okay.
Lies of Peace, something that I could see myself going back to and playing.
Yeah, I mean, it's one that I was tempted to go back to. I remember playing it last year when we were getting our kitchen done, and I took my Series X up the stairs naturally, because I thought, yeah, beauty. I'd taken the week off, and wife and kids were out of school and all the rest of it, and I was like, I'll take that up there. But Starfield was out, but in between it, I thought, play Lies of P.
Aye.
And I did. I was enjoying it,
Yeah.
and then I think I just got sidetracked. But it was good for what I remember, and I thought, I'll need to go back and finish it.
Yeah.
But then, it's just because it's so like Bloodborne. I mean, I'm getting sidetracked, I suppose. But
It's just, I think Wukong is something that, see if it came out on like PlayStation Plus eventually, I think it's something that it's worth a try, because I think you can find a lot of enjoyment in it. But the gameplay hasn't changed for me from chapter 2. Like, I'm still fighting each boss the exact same way.
right, okay,
Every single one of them. I have a routine down where it's like, pop this, pop that, pop this. Maybe they'll die. If not, you just do it again. Like, there's no variance there. So
interesting. I mean, well, for me this week, I have got a touch point to what you're talking about, because I had a wee shot of Black Myth Wukong. So my brother-in-law invited me up to his house because he's went and invested in a new all-singing, all-dancing, pimped-out PC rig. I mean, the thing, literally, I think it might have bells and whistles on it. It's a very impressive machine. I am not a PC gamer, and I've walked away not being convinced to become one, just because I can't be asked.
Yeah.
But I've managed to play Black Myth Wukong up there, running on ultra settings, I think, and it was absolutely stunning. I could only imagine it would look better on like an OLED type monitor.
Yeah.
As well, that's all it was missing. But I got what you mean. Like, hearing you talk about it, and I think you were saying last time you were on, it was more kind of not my style of game, but a bit more action RPG like. And I was like, right, I totally get it. But I got spanked.
Yeah.
So I was thinking to myself, like, exactly that. If this is on PlayStation Plus, or if it's in like a really good deal, I might pick it up.
It's worth it. It is worth it. Even if you were to play it for an hour,
yeah,
I think it's worth your time. But Aye, it's a tough one.
It definitely was. It slapped me. Absolutely slapped me.
That first area isn't great. You fight that first. I think it's like the wandering white, big blue head guy, and it's like he absolutely batters you the whole time. Like just takes you out within like 2 hits. So you have to basically go over that. But aye, it's good.
Well, I also had a shot of Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2.
Get it right.
I know. They'll be coming after me. It's a space one. So I mean, I'm not the Warhammer guy as well, but I must admit I really enjoyed that game. It was the most 360 game I've played in some time, which is good.
That's good, aye.
It was total Gears of War. It was snappy. The gunfire just felt really nice and chunky, and they've got like melee stuff in there, so you can actually parry these enemies. But the tech that was on display, man, like with all these waves of enemies coming at you. And that definitely was the one I was like, right, when that's on sale, I think I'm going to pick it up because, I think you mentioned earlier if it's on Game Pass, because that smells like a Game Pass game.
Does, yeah.
But all I can picture is playing that with yourself, put the difficulty right up, and it would be some laugh. Like it's just, and I'm not really interested in the lore, but it does a good job of not really requiring you to know about it.
Right, okay.
I mean, I did have a brief Games Workshop phase when I was younger, but that was purely for the Lord of the Rings setup. Warhammer just went right over my head, and probably that's a good thing, to be fair, because that's me doomed if I ever get into that. And outside of that, so I introduced my brother-in-law to Balatro because I thought this would be funny. Big PC rig to play Balatro, and he's been up to like 2 a.m. playing it. And I did warn them. So I did pick that up again. I was like, I'll have another wee go. And then outside that, it's just been Astro Bot. But I've been playing that a lot on my own. I'm pretty close to the platinum, I'd say. I'll probably platinum it this weekend if I get a run at it. And playing it with my son. Like, it's off the bat just a brilliant game to play with anybody of all ages. But I'm going to come back to Astro Bot because I'm going to give a more, scored review in a second, but that's going to tie into our main topic this week. So I'm just going to take a little right turn away from it. And I think it was worth one thing that's on the gaming minds of everybody this week is, of course, the PlayStation 5 Pro announcement, which was the biggest, the worst kept secret in gaming, possibly.
Yes.
So a few facts I thought to kick us off, because there might be some listeners out there that have not been sad like us and tuned into Mark Cherny 9-minute presentation.
Given the most hectic, calm-voiced,
and it's chilling.
Like, it's very chilling. It's like
I'd hate to get kidnapped by him.
I mean, I'd probably quite like it because it's like it's calm, but it's also like the voice of a serial killer. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, the
strangest thing.
Guy's obviously mega intelligent, loves what he does, has such a passion for technology, but you can just picture it pure. Hi, here's my 8K television. That's puts the lotion on it. I mean, like, no, we joke. Obviously, Mark's listening, and we're only kidding. But yeah, so a few details about this behemoth that's coming.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know, I love that word though. It's so good. But so it's releasing on the 7th of November.
Yep.
Okay. No disk drive or stand included. Pre-orders are going live on the 26th of September. I'm going to come back to the final fact that we all want to talk about soon. And I'm going to just dig into the features of the console.
Sorry, just to interrupt. See, with the stand not being included, does that mean you can now buy stands?
You can. Yeah, they've been doing that since the Slim came out.
Right, okay.
So they basically they're trying to be, the whole point in the Slim is to try and get the cost down and keep the profit margin. So that's why they separated the disk drive and
makes sense.
The vertical stand. But I think the stand's 40 quid.
No idea. Mine broke, so I probably should buy one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can get one PlayStation Direct. Hashtag sponsored by PlayStation. No. But yeah, in terms of the features, so they kept talking about Big 3. So Mark Cherny, it was a 9-minute presentation this week. And so the first one they're leading with is a upgraded GPU. So it's going to give you 67% more compute units than the base PS5. And the memory is 28% faster, which means you're getting up to 45% faster gameplay rendering. Okay, still with me?
Yep.
Advanced ray tracing. Sony is claiming that it's going to triple the speeds of light reflection over the PS5 base model. when you're using ray tracing in it. And they're going to have their own AI-driven upscaling, which they're calling PSSR, which is the PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PISR for short. And that means that you're going to have a sharper image clarity and more detail when you're playing the game. So Mark Cerny basically said he revealed the console and the design of as well. The leaks had confirmed it, so it looks like a Slim, but it's got your big Adidas stripes across it, 3 big lines across the middle of it. The mission statement was effectively the console wants to run games at a higher fidelity at 60 frames per second, and that's what this is offering. That's literally it. If you don't want to choose between performance and graphics, if you want both, this is going to do it. 75% of players are playing on performance mode, according to Cerny.
That's me.
Exactly. Are people.
I am the 75%. I'm all of them.
Indeed. It's just, does that mean only a quarter of me's playing? But yeah, it's. I found that an interesting tidbit because it's true, because I'm always approaching these games like, I mean, I would love to do the fidelity mode and I just have a wee nosy. So what's it like? But then the frame rate, man.
It always looks like shite. Always looks like shite. I've always had issues playing God of War in graphics mode.
Oh, I can't.
Every single time. It's just a pure pain in the tits. So it's a solution to a problem that is pure niche. Like it's a bugbear.
Yeah, I mean, off the bat, this is for the hardest of hardcore gamers out there. This is not an everyman product now. And that's not saying, oh, it's exclusive. It's not. This is for your hardcore nerds, right? Like us, right? That's who they're targeting with this. But I mean, even like the 40 frames per second, 1440, and it's like it still looks like dog meat because it's not quite what you want. So we're kind of in this awkward space. But there's a few other things they announced. So there's a PS5 Pro game boost enhancements. So over 8,500 backwards compatible PS4 games will get it. So it's going to stabilise and improve performance on it. There's going to be PS5 games getting patches at the Pro launch. So I've got the list here. Some games, of course, you adore, like Dragon's Dogma 2. Alan Wake 2. Assassin's Creed Shadows is the only new game I see on it. Demon's Souls, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Gran Turismo 7, Hogwarts Legacy. Horizon Forbidden West, The First Descendant. The Crew Motor Fest. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, of course, Marvel Spider-Man 2 and The Last of Us Part 2 remastered, and many more, they say. So you can imagine, just like the PS4 Pro, this is just going to be something we'll pop on the blog and say, look, it looks shinier, just what you want. Now, the main topic here that everybody's been talking about is at the end of all this, they revealed the price, which is £699.99 sterling. And that definitely came as a bit of a shock to us all, you know. But even the most enthusiastic punter, I think, were very much like, oh, right, okay.
I don't think it wasn't expected at all.
No. I mean, I think
I accepted your Jeff Keighley because inflation.
And what I'm noticing online is that there naturally has been a lot of scuttlebutt about it, because people are kind of getting angry at more prominent figures, and you know, they're getting things chucked at them like, you're a corporate apologist and all that. And I think the frustration, if I'm honest, boils from the fact people don't want to hear the price is all right from someone who's probably going to get this for nothing. Yeah, like that's that's the kind of separation that it comes from. And granted, they might go out and spend their own money on that. We can't prove it. But I think that's where a lot of the frustration's coming from, towards that side of the fart chamber that is Twitter. But you know, it's one of those ones.
Chamber of farts.
Chamber of farts. That's what it is, man, because it's stinking. But I think, if I'm honest, even though the price has been shocking, like, and I mean that in the way that, like, I was not expecting that. Honestly, I went into it thinking it'll be 589, 599ish.
See if he came out and said 600, I'd have still been like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like,
it's a lot.
It's still a lot of money. It's just 699 felt like
we've never seen it. It's uncharted territory now.
Squared right in the balls.
Yeah, like, that's it. And I do think, though, all this being said, and now things have died down from initial reaction, it's going to sell out on the pre-orders when it goes live at the end of September. The demand is definitely there, because we're seeing it with the disk drives now selling out. granted, there will be people, smart people, taking advantage of the situation. Just buying up disk drives and they could sell it at a profit. But that's telling me there is an audience there. And you're talking about like the 5% of the hardcore, and Sony aren't presenting this as something like with the PS5 Pro. It's not like the PS4 Pro. I've got to get my numbers right here. But PS4 Pro was very much like, look, this is the next step in the journey. Come with us, because the PS4 was knackered by the time that came out. PS5 Pro is definitely just for something that you want, and it's not something you need. That's the way I'm coming down on it. Yeah. I do think there's a bigger question now, and it's something they're all going to have to think about. And there's loads of things. Would that price be the same without a strong Xbox? If stronger Xbox was out, you probably would get a lower price. But we've now, as consumers, got to prepare ourselves. Like we've now went there. The PlayStation 6, it's probably going to be about this price, if not more.
I think if it was a PlayStation 6, I'd be like, that's cool.
Yeah,
I think I'd feel less dirty paying that amount of money for a brand new, kind of number up console. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, as you say, the jump from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 4 Pro was enormous in that moment, because my PlayStation 4 sounded like it was going to explode every single time I turned the thing on. And then being able to play God of War kind of 2018 to like not feel like it's going to erupt and actually hear the game. Like it was massive for me. Like,
didn't sound like a Hoover with a sock stuck in
I didn't have to wear headphones every single time that I played it.
God, yeah, I remember that.
Ridiculous.
So bad.
But it's just like, with this, I keep on flitting between justifying the purchase to also being like, you don't need it, to being also like, aye, but it'd be alright, it'd be nice to have it.
Right, I think this is the part where I'm going to put the brakes on here, right? Because, Scott, I think we might have to call this bit the PS5 Crow, right? Because we have cashed some pretty large checks. And I know, Alex, you're listening to this. We've engaged online about this. The price is shocking. It's an outrage, but I hate to disappoint you, but I think we're both going to bow to the consumer pressure.
Mark Cherney's voice has
doing this for science,
calmed me down.
But
it's just finding ways. Like, life will find a way. Do you know what I mean?
I'm finding ways.
You're definitely finding ways.
I don't mind sharing it.
Share away.
Finding ways. So I'm like, we've went through this. I said this to my wife and she popped in there. We go through the same cycles, both of us, because we're both as bad as each other when it comes to this. And it happened with the Pro, with the PS4, all the rest. But this one's been a bit of a different pill to swallow, where it was the outrage stage. Like, I'm not fucking paying that. You know what I mean? You can get it for there, that type of thing. And then you quickly move into the mental calculation stage, which is pretty much the justification. And then you're in the settled, fuck it, I'm just going to buy it anyway stage. And to get there on my journey, right? Which is like, right, I could just whack that on the credit card, forget about it, it's fine. Right? Fortunate enough I can do that, but it's like, I don't want to, and that's not what I'm going to do. So when I was at my brother-in-law's, he was showing me all of his wonderful things. Oh, there's a moth on my mic. He was showing me all these wonderful things in this lovely gaming space that he's got set up. It really is stunning. But he was showing me his Magic the Gathering cards. Right, I'm not a player, but these collections worth a fair chunk of change, right, to the tune of 5,000 odd quid. And I thought, that's cool. Oh wait, I remember when my mum moved house last year, we discovered my whole collection of Pokemon cards, all the original 151, including a shiny Charizard or two in there. So I'm like, I think now's the time. I'm going to cash in on that because it's just sitting here doing nothing. So that's my weekend plans, and I'm
quite excited to hear how this goes.
I know it's going to proper, like, is it Bargain Hunt? I think, or no, Dickinson's Real Deal. I don't know. Go watch these programs, but it's going to be like that. Right? The one where they do the selling, but
Dickinson's Real Deal.
Yeah, and I've got in touch with a really sound like shop, the seller's been, or the buyer's been really, really nice about it. So I'm just going to go up and just have a conversation. I've been doing the valuations. I've actually kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, and there has been part of me feeling slightly bad, you know, sitting at the table. I've got a wee app to scan it at recommendation of my brother-in-law to give me the values and ungrading it. And I'm like, man, my son would probably really enjoy this, but at the same time, I'm like, why don't I just give him a pile of cash that he can draw on and ruin? Because that's what I'm basically doing.
Basically, aye.
So I've said to myself, whatever I do when I go to this shop, because obviously he'll be with me and my daughter as well, I'm just going to get them just a wee pack of cards or something like that, you know, just something to kind of mark the day. So it'll be a fun day out. But that has eased this purchase decision.
The woe.
Because I will go cash this in, purchase the console, and I will have to get a disc drive because I like my physical media, even for like watching Blu-rays and that with the kids and all that. So that's kind of where I'm at. Somewhere I can hear Alex maybe screaming at a set of speakers, but you know,
It's like that scene. It's like that scene in Interstellar. It's like Matthew McConaughey watching all those videos back. It's like, no.
I know.
It's
the saddest thing is though, but it's like it's probably once again an opportunity to buy PSVR 2. Because on the announcement day, I was like that, not buying it. I'm going to get a PSVR 2.
No, it's just I just spite it.
Yeah,
Ultimately for me. It's very much I can find a way to do it.
Yeah,
like physical media. If I got rid of all the games and the PS5, I could probably make my way there. My birthday's in October. I'll get money for my birthday. Worst comes to worst, I just put a wee bit of it on the credit card and I can get money for Christmas and pay for it over Christmas. So it's like it's doable. It's not like I'm 16 again and I have to ask my mum to buy it for me. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm an adult man with adult responsibilities, but
you're still not happy about it. That's
no,
the thing.
I hate it. I'll despise doing it. And in 4 years down the line, when they announce the PlayStation 6, I'll be like,
but
fucking Mark Cherny,
you'll have a pro that will go towards it. So it's an investment. I mean, that's the trading culture is a big part of this.
The difference here is though that what is the innovation in this from 5 to Pro is that it's going to run the games that you have better. What is the next step up?
And that's it now.
It's just like that's just what it's going to be from now on.
Yeah.
Like I'm fine with that now. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's a difficult one, but as you say, would the price be this if we had a stronger Xbox?
No.
Do we see Xbox coming in undercutting this price and being like, look, here's a Series X 0.5?
Well, the interesting thing to remember, I suppose, when they announced the Series X, what was that, 2019 or something, and then the Series S as well, which was done in fantastic fashion. Remember, it leaked and all that. And Xbox owned it, which was fantastic social media work from their team. But they stumbled across a very good structure, which was we can't sell the Series X any lower. We can't make more of a loss than what we are, because usually consoles are sold at a loss. So the Series S was the happy medium, which is like, let's bring in the new generation. Granted, now 4 years in, it's causing them problems because developers are like, look, we can't, this is holding us back now from developing in the Xbox a little bit, because it's a pain in the arse to kind of get the games down to that as opposed to lift them up. But I think you're right. You know, now the game has changed, no pun intended, right? But it's like, this is it. Even going from PS4 to PS5, the jump really was, it was all quality of life. If I look at it, the PS4 Pro is effectively doing what the PS5 is doing, but it was a bit slower, but I was still choosing between graphics and fidelity. I could still run 4K HDR gaming. The loading times were crap and the download times were crap. So the PS5 was the ultimate quality of life update. And I have to say, the base PS5 is still, like, we've both got the launch day version.
It's still
fantastic,
a phenomenal console. What I also now think, right, is, let's say November. What dates it come out?
November 7th,
November 6th, November 5th. Nintendo come out. Say the Switch 2 is coming in 2 months. Do you still buy it?
Yep.
it's ridiculous.
No.
Like, it's
I would. Oh,
because that's that. You're basically talking just shy. You're probably just over £1,000 for both of them, easy.
and saying that, maybe not. I think the Switch 2 is something I know I will eventually buy.
You know, no, this is the same conversation we had when this
But
video.
it's going to be because of this purchase.
Yeah.
It will have an impact. So I think it depends on the launch. So if they announce Switch 2 with a new 3D, like a Mario Odyssey
No, but
sequel or something,
they say the Switch 2 is coming, but we've actually managed to get Metroid Prime.
no, that's what I'm done.
Aye.
That's it.
Like,
Done.
it's
Like,
there for you to play
Yeah.
day
I mean,
one.
I'm also thinking about the future. So I'm looking at this as like, because there's going to be a games household. I've got my son there who's wanting to and is playing
Yeah.
games with us, right? So my plan is for him to inherit the Switch as a handheld once I definitely know, look, it's retired now. We've got the Switch 2. You can muck this up as much as you want, and that your old dad's not going to get raging about it, because that's what would happen now. It's like, Dad, I've smashed the screen. It's like, you know, it's one of those ones, but it's like, that'll be good for him and that'll
Yeah.
become his. And then over time, fast forward a few years after that, that base PlayStation 5, I really want to hold on to. So I'm like, do you know what? Here's a solid console, you know, and you know how to play on it because you've been playing Astro Bot and this other stuff, and it's yours now. And that'll be way down the line.
Yeah.
But it's like, cool, you take that, because it's like, I'm not buying 2 PlayStation 6s. There's no chance. You know, so it's one of those ones. And so that's where my mindset is on it.
Yeah.
And the Switch 2 is definitely something that's like, it's Nintendo. It's like, you know, there's going to be stuff on there that all the family can enjoy, even if it's for a fleeting moment. But I know I'm going to be there for Zelda. I mean, we've got Tears, you've got Echoes of Wisdom coming out and the end of this month, which I'm like, thank God I've got the Switch. But to be honest with you, I only turn up on the Switch to play the big
Aye, the
exclusives.
big ones.
So
Yeah.
you're right. It's not something that maybe I rush out and buy. I mean, I could change my strategy if Switch 2 gets announced, and I reckon it'll be about $450 for that, and it'll probably have the spec of a PlayStation 4. Let's face it, but we're not there for the tech. But as long as it's a little bit of an improvement that can run something like Pokemon Scarlet and make it not look like it would, you know, running off a toaster, that'd be fantastic. But yeah, it's one of those ones. I do believe that we're in a very, very interesting shift when it comes to console pricing and expectations. Now we have to shift them.
I'm not there yet. Mentally there. In my head, when I came, I was like, I'm buying this thing. But now I'm like to and fro on it, because the PlayStation 5 is
We
like,
don't need it.
and that's the thing, the base PlayStation 5 is fine for what it does.
It's the best PlayStation that I've owned.
Yeah.
And I'm not even being funny, because of course it is, but it's like, it is, as I used to always say, the original PlayStation 3 would survive a nuclear bomb because it was just solid, like really solid. And I was lucky I didn't get Yellow Light of Doom or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the PS5, it's like, I've not known anything like it, because, and this is the message that goes out to anybody listening that's maybe in the same position as us, or maybe just like, there is a FOMO attached to it, and which obviously we're experiencing it and bound to.
Yeah.
But the base PlayStation 5 is still going to give you the best console experience that you're effectively wanting to get just now. The PlayStation 5 Pro just gives you that very small enhancement, tweak quality of life, which is, for me, it's like, I want to play games with that fidelity and 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
And I want that because I know what's coming in the next 2 years, which is Grand Theft Auto 6. And you're going to find a lot of people changing their tune
Yeah.
when the delay announcement comes and it says it's
true.
2026. But that's when you will start to see the Pro shift. And at that point, we'll be hammered, because inflation just keeps going up. We're all getting shafted, and we're getting used to paying the higher prices.
Yeah.
Even though wages don't go up across the country to meet that. But it's one of those ones that's going, the GTA 6 effect, that's the card that's still to be played here. And for me, I'm looking at that again in the future. When that game comes out, I do not want to play that in 30 frames a second if I can so help it. And I say this now, fast forward a year's time, and it's like, this is Grand Theft Auto 6. It runs at 30 frames a second at 4K, and it's like, you bastard.
It's just that's kind of what's I'm not. I need to see more. I think for me, before I can justify the purchase, I need to see games that are not The Last of Us Part 2 running on it. Do you know what I mean?
That was such an odd choice.
Ratchet and Clank.
An odd choice.
Let's look at the background characters in Ratchet and Clank. It's like, they look the same as they did.
Yeah.
It's just, let me see games that, that I play run on it.
Show me Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah.
Show me that.
Give me a showcase of games that are not PlayStation.
I mean, show me Assassin's Creed running on anything, and I'm like, there you go.
There you go.
But
take all my money.
I'm with you. Like, if I didn't have the hustle lined up for this, I'm like, no.
Yeah,
that was
that's
it.
true. Yeah.
The only thing that's changed my mind is the fact it's like, right, effectively most of that is going to get paid for because I'm sitting on a pretty decent opportunity.
I think you'll do more than you think on that.
Bloody well hope
I'm
so.
excited to hear. Honestly, I'm buzzing to hear this. I want to come with you, but I can't. I want to come with you. I'm sure.
Free.
We need to go down to Troon, by the way.
I know, and I've not been to Troon for a while, so I'm looking forward to that. But I think, that's the thing that's changed it for me.
Yeah,
so
100%.
It's not really a purchase. It's just like, I'm just trading one thing and I'm getting another. That's it.
Yeah.
So I am not paying the £800 accumulatively out of nada just now. It's just, that isn't worth it, and I don't recommend anybody that isn't in the same hardcore, mega nerds as we are.
It wouldn't be the first console you buy. Do you know what I mean? No. Like, Dad, I want a PlayStation 5 for Christmas, and you go, all right, I'll just get you this. Like, it's not, as you say about the PlayStation, like the base PS5 is kind of bang for your buck. It's the best console you can get.
Yeah.
So
and if you are maybe someone that does have older kids that are playing PlayStation, maybe this is, it's like, hey, if I want one for myself, then you're probably going to get the Pro because you're like, fake it, why not? That's for mum, that's for dad.
Yeah.
That's
it's just so soon. Like, it's also just a bitter pill to swallow because it's so soon.
Well, it's later than when the Pro.
No, but it's like
Pro announced, didn't
how
it?
quick the turnaround is on it.
This is the other point. I think that we're in for a longer console generation now.
Okay.
And I think that's because the longest console generation we had, I think, was the PlayStation 3 360 one, which was about eight and a bit years. And that was because the global recession.
Right, okay.
So that dragged it out. The pandemic is having such an impact on the industry in a negative way. That's why all the layoffs and that happened, because they tooled up and now they've, the cost of inflation, and that's why everything's coming down. So it's a kind of a bit of a hidden recession again. And the games just aren't coming out fast enough because of the pandemic, the shift to work from home, slowing down development times, and also games are more expensive and costly to make from a resource and money standpoint. So I think that you're not seeing PlayStation 6 until 2028 now. Well, I think you're getting 4 years out of this now, which would take it.
That doesn't seem like that long away.
But that's an 8. If you look at it over there, it's an 8-year generation again.
I still don't think that
it's not that long away.
I still don't think it justifies.
It's the same with the PS4.
No, I know, and it does. But the PS4 it felt like a completely different. It was a completely no-brainer at that point. Whereas this seems like so unnecessary for what it's doing.
It is.
Like,
it's completely unnecessary.
The gimmick is just like, this is what it should be anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, but we have to pay £700 to get this now.
Yeah.
Do you know? It's like
it's £700 for marginal gains. That's what it is.
It's £700 for a menu option.
Yep.
Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I said to you, give me backward compatible PlayStation 3 games. Make it just a Uber console. Do you know what I mean? But it's aye.
I mean, I should say, if I get lowballed for that collection, I'm not going to buy it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those ones that's like, the collection must.
I bet you will.
Must pay for it.
I bet you will.
Must. But other than that, you're right, and I will say this as someone who is prepared to make that investment with, with a hustle. It's better than selling my ass. But it's, you know what I mean? But it's one of those, it's not a necessary purchase whatsoever. This is a luxury that you don't need, but it's a luxury that you will probably want to buy because that's how our brains work as consumers.
Oh, it's I'm going to say my last thing on this, right? Because I know we've been talking for quite a while about this.
Mm.
And this is just my own opinion on this, right? See, if this was an Xbox, there would be a completely different narrative about this. I think as PlayStation, you can sort of justify it. Whereas I think with an Xbox, it would be reviled. Like it would be like, you know, World War III has started.
Oh, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like I know they've obviously like announcing cuts today anyway, but
could you imagine grifted YouTube?
It's just I feel like it's with PlayStation you can kind of be like, right, okay, it's a PlayStation, like you know what you're getting, but with an Xbox it would almost feel like, you know, egregious to be that way, and it is. But
they did have a rumoured like Pro thing that got leaked, remember? But I don't know what the hell that's happening.
The handheld Xbox and all that as well. It's coming.
Well, that's where the future is now.
Yeah,
I think it's handheld innovation because consoles have reached a point now where if they're getting silly money, give people that look at the Steam Deck, look at the Portal, all these other things.
See if you told me, look, the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to be your console for the foreseeable future, but the next PlayStation console they bring out is actually a handheld device that you can. It's not a Portal. Like you can play it like a normal PlayStation.
Proper.
I'd be like, okay, that's fine, and I'd maybe consider the purchase again. Do you know what I mean? But it's just,
I think that's what people are wanting.
Yeah,
you know,
I would love that.
There's still obviously the market for like the uber nerds that want the 4K and the 60 and all the rest of that, but the PlayStation 6 is going to be the same feeling when it gets announced. It's going to be, oh, did you see these flops? Look at this flops. Want more flops? There's flops for you. And we're all just sitting there thinking, that's great. And all it's going to be is, we've developed the architecture. It's 4K 60 with capability of performance and 120. And it's like, right, but not everybody has the television capable of that with the 120 hertz. And it's going to be, again, very, very small incremental things. And before we know it, I think this is us now in the similar PC space. So, the new RTX, and I'm like, what does it do?
Aye,
it's same now.
Honestly, it's like talking to me about Marvel Snap. No idea what you're talking about.
I got lucky past couple of weeks ago. Got 2 of the new Spotlight cards.
Oh, good.
Fantastic.
Good.
Silver Sable and Madam Web.
Oh, good. Madam Web.
That's it. You know, still to actually use it in the deck. Anyway, I digress. But PS5 Pro, let us know your thoughts. Is it something that tempts you? Do you think it's totally justified? Are you all in? Are you all out? Let us know.
What are the pros and cons of it?
The pros and cons, especially.
That is the con. That is the bloody. It is a con that you're having to make us buy this.
And we will come back to this in November when Scott tells us what he makes of the PS5
It's
Pro.
horrendous. I can see clouds buzz through your trousers.
That's it. I can see the whiskers on that shit. But I'll move on, as I had mentioned. So I've been playing this week a lot of Astro Bot, right?
Okay.
And I think right off the bat, this is official. It is the first 10 I'm going to give on this podcast. It is a must play.
Aye.
I think it's one of the greatest platformers of all time. Like, it stands shoulder to shoulder with anything that Nintendo heavyweights have got to offer. And I mean that sincerely. And Sony, they've got something really special. They've stumbled into something really special here with it. It's just pure unfilled joy. Like, this game was going to have you smiling from start to finish. It had me smiling from start to finish, laughing out loud. My wife's in the corner reading a book, and I'm pure, that's great. Like, and there's a magic about it.
Yeah,
it gave me that kind of feeling that I had when I was a kid playing games for the first time, and that's a rare thing.
Yeah,
and it kind of reminded me why I love video games in the first place, which is like, I'm just here to have fun. There's nothing like, it's not a live service game. It's not me butting my head against like, oh, what's the story, the cinematics and all that stuff. It's just like, here's a game, it's cute, it's charming, and it's tight as all hell. Like, it's so good. Like, now, one thing I feel strongly about is, and I'm not going to touch on, that this thing's laden with PlayStation and gaming cameos, right?
Phil laden.
It is Phil laden.
He's in it.
He is. He might well be. I've still got like 50 bots to go. So, but I'm not going to touch on that because I think that's BS. Half the joy in this game is just you stumbling across something.
Yeah.
And there's some mega deep cuts
Mhm.
gaming wise in here. So there's something literally for everybody.
Yeah.
There's going to be a series or a character or a cameo that you're going to go, oh, I really like that thing. So it's there.
Yeah.
And I'm really shocked at how deep they're willing to go, and hats off to them.
That's the thing with it, though. It's from what little I've played of it, because I'm as I say, I've only finished that one boss fight. It is filled with love for what it's doing, and it treats. Not very often you see something treat everything with the care and attention that it deserves, and it's given characters that you've not seen in games for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
The love that they deserve and giving them a platform and stuff as well. Like, I was playing it with my daughter, and one of the characters came up and she was like, "Who's that?" So then I had to explain the lore of Metal Gear Solid to her. But
yes.
it was yeah, so it was just but aye, it's cool. Like it's really cool.
It really is. And I think, it makes them feel part of that PlayStation family. It makes Astro Bot feel part of it. But it's firmly got its own identity as Astro Bot because these cameos are all bots.
Yes.
But you know who it is, and it's like that Simpsons design logic. Matt Groening made sure that all the Simpsons characters had their own unique silhouette so you could identify them. And it's the same thing here. It's like, all right, I know who that is. And there's going to be ones you're like, who's that? I found one or two, I'm just kind of like, and it's like, you go check it, it's like, oh.
But then you have the wee description in it and stuff as well. Like they're hilarious as well. Like it's just, and that's most of the time tells you who it is.
Yeah, and it's tremendous.
Yeah,
like so much fun. There's so much content packed into the game. There's about 80 plus levels or something like that. I think I'm sure, but there's like, it just keeps giving you stuff to do. And the gameplay now it's perfect.
Yeah,
like it's so finely tuned. It's balanced. It is a total joy. Like the joy is the word all to play it, and it's such a sensory experience. The DualSense shines when you play this game, and we know that from Astro's Playroom. But to have this kind of full-bodied experience with it, I will say it's loud as all hell. But I don't mind because it's such an essential part of the experience. I could have played it with headphones, and I was like, nah, I'm just going. I want it to be loud. I want it to be like
the speaker and the controller and stuff as well. Like I usually just turn that off as standard, and then I was like, I'm missing out on something here. Yeah, and I turned it on. It was like a completely different. It was like a spiritual experience when I turned it back on again. It was like this is exactly how this should be.
It's a total assault on the senses, which is great. But I think it immerses you.
Yeah, 100%.
Moment to moment, and as well, the abilities you'll have. Abilities in this game. Again, I'm not going to touch on them because it's half the fun. Yeah, it's kind of like a little, like half the fun is what it's revealing to you. What I will say is the abilities are just inventive and unique. Like I love the ones that they've peppered throughout. Yeah, you'll get like there's just a handful of ones and it's not like every level like a Mario. It's like this mushroom or that. It does a good job of kind of changing it up for you, and the levels are themed. Like you're going to get like your kind of Mario-esque ones. Like this is a bit more bright, this is got lava, that type of stuff, but there's special like themed levels in this game, and they are the absolute star of the show. Yeah, and they're centered around a PlayStation property, and it's almost like a reward in some sense. And they had already kind of the one that everybody knows is Kratos, so there's like a God of War themed one within there, and that won't count as a spoiler because it's already out there. But the way that they handle God of War and Astro Bot is absolutely perfect. Like it almost kind of as close as you'll get to like a Lego God of War, but not being a Lego God of War. Like it's the way that the DualSense is integrated into it, and you're kind of using it to throw the Leviathan axe and come back. It's just absolute love, care, and attention, and you can tell this team have had fun making this game.
That's the point, and it's just like given the time and given the space to make something really special.
And that's the thing. Like, everything is just like it's so tactile. Yeah, it's crisp. Like just an absolute pleasure to play it. And I have to give shout out to the music as well.
Yeah.
I know, like, you're missing like the GPU song, but to be honest with you, there's some bangers in there. But I will say the music in there, they kind of remix a lot of PlayStation motif themes and all that, and it's just done so well, like so well. So when you do get to these points, that adds to it all. So you've got the gameplay, the sensory experience, the music, what you're seeing on screen, and you're like, wow. Like, I don't think I've played a game this finely tuned ever, to be honest with you. Like, it you can tell that they have really tested this game to make sure that it's so tight, and it looks fantastic. It's running, I think it is 60 frames. It must be.
It
It's
must
close
be,
to 4K.
yeah.
As you can get. I don't really know, but I don't care. That's not what it's trying to do. I think the only criticism I really have is probably of the main boss in the game, the big baddie. But it's very much aimed at a younger audience. It's not aimed
it's not for
at your old dad.
40-year-old Liam here.
I feel that whilst the boss is fitting for the world, right? I'd like to see in the next one, because there will be a next one, just one with a wee bit more menace. And if they could get the Bowser of Astro Bot down, man, like, PlayStation can take this anywhere. And I think right now they're going to be stupid if they don't. I mean, think about like an Astro Bot racer, or like Astro Bot Rabbids or whatever. You can see that.
I mean, it's
like the way they tried to do it like with PlayStation All Stars to like bring this portfolio together, and didn't quite work. This is how they do
this
it.
is
now.
how they do it.
And it's something that you can just see. It's like, guys, like, just even if they just repeated the formula, I suppose that's what Mario always does. Peach gets kidnapped, big bad, go rescue. Here's a bunch of levels.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you just create different levels within the PlayStation universe for different titles.
Exactly.
That's all you do.
That's it. The themed levels that they've got, you could just do like, Astro's Adventure in PlayStation Land or something, and it's like 80 levels of all that, and everybody would play it and go, "This is amazing."
Sell toys.
And it would sell toys.
Sell Astro Bot toys of different characters.
Honestly, say if you just sold them like not Funkos but little Astro Bot figures as they are, they'd make them into be like amiibos for PlayStation.
Yeah.
And they'd be stupid to not milk this for everything that it's worth.
Herman Hulst is listening to this, like rubbing his thighs.
Like, finally.
I can finally pay for Concord
I
with
can
Astro Bot toys.
I could finally pay for a PS5 Pro. But I mean, I will say, let's say just over 80 levels.
Yeah.
The price of admission is well worth it.
Yes.
I think the levels aren't too long. They won't overstay their welcome. You can get through one in a few minutes.
Yeah.
But there's a morishness to it. Like it says, you go back, there's collectibles,
It's
secrets.
that Crash Bandicoot fix, like seeing at the end of a Bandicoot level where you've the Bandicoot. I've seen at the end of that where you've not found like the diamonds and all that.
Yeah.
The gems. Like, you're always like, oh, I need to go and do this again now. So it's like, I hate finishing a level in Astro Bot and having not found everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I did try to play it meticulously, then eventually I just let go, and I thought, do you know what? That's my treat. So right now I'm doing like the mop up. I'm basically playing the game again.
That's cool though.
And I'm going back to the worlds where I didn't 100%, but I'm so happy to do it. It doesn't feel like a chore.
So that's the difference in it. I'd also give a shout out to the hub world as well.
Yeah.
Like,
fantastic.
It's and the things that it's not just a wee hub where they just sit. Like, there's actually things to do there. Is really cool as well.
Yeah.
Like, there's purpose to everything that you do in that game. Yeah. And it's wild to have that, because I mean, you could have easily just had this hub world where they exist. They just stay together and you don't do anything.
Yep. I mean, they've just expanded on what you had in Playroom.
Yeah.
And the hub world is fantastic because it's effectively a level in itself.
It's a playground. A playground for all of your bots.
And I will say, difficulty wise, we're not talking Celeste, Super Meat Boy. It can be easy, but there is the odd challenge level in there. But I say odd, there's a good few challenge levels in there, and those moments, like I'm starting to see it now come through in social media. Like we'll get through. Like if you're somebody that's listening to a gaming podcast, you're going to get through the 95% or maybe 98% of these levels fairly easily. The challenge levels are fantastic because it distills it down to like one mechanic, and I think there was one. I've done all the challenge levels. There was one. I swear to God, it took me about 100 tries because I just couldn't get the timing down. But I loved it.
Yeah.
I just kept on doing it. I mean, my son was sitting watching me, and I felt bad. He's like, I want to play Astro Bot. I was like, right, in a minute, Dad, I need to finish this. He's like, why do you keep dying? I'm like, just shut up. Like, just keep going. But I think, simply put, if you've got a PlayStation 5, you need to own.
Aye, it's necessary. It's necessary. It's almost like it's made for it. It's obviously made for it, but it's almost like you have games that are quintessentially for those consoles. Like, you think of a PlayStation 1, you think of like Metal Gear Solid. PlayStation 2, you think of like the game we picked for the Pixel, like the Pixel thingy. It's like you think of a PS5, you're now going to think Astro Bot. Like, it's just, they come hand in hand.
100%. I will say, obviously, being the guardians of, you know, parent gamers out there, that this is a game that you have to buy and play with your kids as well.
Yeah.
It has something for everybody. I mean, I'm like my son, you were saying you're playing it with your daughter as well. It's like it caters to that beginner level.
Yeah.
Even though it's 3D space.
The 3D space thing is a bit more difficult, but it's not as it's easier to get through. Like there's moments where it is a wee bit harder, but the tools are there. And it's just taking a few minutes just to explain it, and then she's fine. The
first theme level, and I'm not going to say what because that wasn't in the trailers, but the first theme level that you'll have played in the first the first Galaxy, that was particularly good because it was just a big open area,
a big open space for it.
And my son, he just kept on getting so far at it, but it's teaching him, like, if you fail, try again.
Yeah,
just keep doing that and you'll be okay. But yeah, I think absolute 10 out of 10. Pixel Parents family
recommended.
Game, recommended.
Pixel Parents recommended.
Yeah, like
the sticker on the box.
They should.
Your face. Big thumbs up.
Big thumbs up. They're not that big, no. But yeah, I think Astro Bot absolute 10. But I think what I'll do is, I think this is going to end up being quite a bumper episode, to be honest, which is good, you know, because we ain't done yet. But I think we're going to move on to the main topic now. Believe it or not, never in. But
I'm back.
Astro Bot, he's back. But Astro Bot, you know, this topic I think we've called it Astro Bot, the champion we deserve. So we just said we're giving it a 10. Right? It's critical acclaim, best reviewed game of the year, if you ask me. Although it's still plenty to come out, but I'm like, I don't really know what's going to get close at this point. But Sony have got a monster on their hands here. I've not seen the sales figures, but this will, especially by the time Christmas comes.
Yeah, 100%.
This is going to do the business.
Bundle it, you know what I mean? Like, it's...
Bundle it, ship it. Oh, I should also add, this game is perfect on the portal. It's amazing on the portal. Makes use of those DualSense functionalities. But if successful, right, and all signs are pointing to it's successful, you know, it's pretty much been out for a week at this point. Do we think that younger gamers are going to be crying out for more like this and maybe start to see not a change in trend, but maybe just add a little crease in the trend where they start to see a return to more types of games like this for younger gamers, not teenagers. I'd say the younger gamers.
It's a tough one. I mean, we've not seen the numbers for it yet and the demographics and stuff like that as well, but you'd hope so. You know, like it's perfect for them, and it means that you know, the be and end all of all games don't lie with Nintendo. Do you know what I mean? It's like it opens up a whole world where, you know, they can play this to their heart's content, and there could be an Astro Bot for every console that they bring out. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could be like that. Hopefully so. I mean, we're seeing the love for platformers. Does that translate into, you know, adventure games and stuff like that as well? Does it translate to other things? It remains to be seen, but it obviously shows that there's a place for, we don't need to have hyper violent, you know, massive open worlds every single time. Sometimes we just need a wee tight experience that does everything well. And, you know, for kids, fantastic. We're seeing adults love this game, you know, like with their heart and soul. So if that can translate onto the children, then someone think of the children.
Would someone
please think of the children? But it's I hope so. I really do. I hope this is the beginning of something, because it'd be brilliant. It would be brilliant for everyone.
Well, I've got a wee tidbit there. apparently it's sold. We don't get the official figures because it's still in its opening week, but it's sold about a third of what Ratchet and Clank did in its same period of time. But it's also sold more than double than Concord, apparently. It's UK launch, but apparently the physical media sales number apparently is not supposed to be great in the UK, but they're expected to have a bit more of a lifespan, especially it says with Christmas coming up and stuff. So
aye, it's
one of those ones.
The big win with it is that it's not something that if you don't play it now, you're not missing out on anything.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I think it's got going against it is it doesn't have that kind of, it's an unknown quantity.
Yeah,
outside of hardcore gamers who are all talking about it and loving it. But I do think it's fantastic that there is finally a game like this for Astro Bot, because I think I remember having a conversation with some of my family before they bought a PlayStation 5 for their younger kid at the time. And I'm like, look, it was probably about a year after that launched. I'm like, there's not really a lot of games for kids. It was all like 18 rated games, really, that were the big ones. I'm like, and Ratchet and Clank was on the horizon.
Yes.
So I'm like, yeah, you could buy it if you're okay with them. Aye. But hey, but it's one of those ones where like, you could buy it if you're okay with them playing mature type stuff, but I mean, they're 7, so I don't really think you are. But I think back to like playing, obviously we were playing games like back in the 90s, and these type of games were 10 a penny.
Yeah.
You're thinking back to the 60s.
I was like...
They were 10 a penny, but I look at Croc, for example, right?
Legend of the Gobbles.
It's coming back. But
long live the Croc.
The legend lives
Love
on.
Him. But Legend of the who?
No, it's the Legend of the Gobbles, but I'm like...
I said Gobblers.
Not the Gobblers. It's, I'm saying his legend lives on, but it's not the best game, I'll admit, but the fondness for it is still so strong today.
Games like Gex. Like, things like that. It's just like daft things. It's just...
You can imagine if we had like an Astro Bot, you put that in front of a young gamer, it's going to be fondly remembered. Now, it has more potential than Croc and Gex and stuff like that as well. It does, just because the numbers are bigger now. That's really it. But I do think that younger gamer trends, it feels like they're due to move on from Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox focused, but I do feel on the whole the live service trend is not starting to go away. I just feel like it's feeling tired. Yeah. And we're overdue more simple games. And that's why we're seeing a lot in the indie space, which is catering towards that. I mean, even you talked about Balatro earlier. But it's only going to be good news for gamers. You know, I do think young gamers and older ones, we definitely deserve an Astro Bot. I think it's
100%. We've lived through the pain of Concord.
Just chasing destiny.
It's chasing the same thing that every other game wants to do, like Suicide Squad. It's just
nickel and dime.
It's just having a full game that just unearths more and more and more as you play it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that now. These are things that in the 90s, like you're playing fighting games, you unlock a new character when you complete it, or you find secrets in levels like Tomb Raider and stuff like that as well. Like, it's just, you put the time in and it rewards you for it. You're not having to pay for a DLC to do that. You finish the game and you decide, look, Astro Bot then say, Team Asobi go, do you know what? We're going to release DLC. It's going to be a few more worlds, but it's going to be like more challenge levels. You've got your leaderboards and stuff like that as well. So it's like, so like they're going to do that. But you've already finished this game and you're like, do you know what? Yeah, I'll throw them a tenner. I think we've done that before with some games as well. I think indie titles that we've played them for so long that we've been like, it seems only fair that we got this game for free. It seems only fair to pay something for it. But it's just, as you say, being able to say, someone phones you at Christmas and says, look, I'm going to buy such and such a PlayStation 5. If you've got any games that you could recommend, immediately go and get them that. Because you can put they'll love it. Like, they might not get all the references and stuff, but maybe that creates interest in other games within the PlayStation library.
Who's that cool looking one? I want to learn more about it, and then they go down that path. I mean, it doesn't always need to be. I think this game is really hitting home. It doesn't have to be like cinematic, blockbuster, always online shooter, multiplayer, microtransaction. The game, like, this is dead simple. You jump, you run, you can hit things, you collect coins, and you know what? You'll have the best time.
Yeah,
and
it also caters to the gamblers out there as well.
It does. Aye, it does.
Like,
it really does, actually. But I think if you look at Concord, right, you've mentioned it, you've chibbed it a few times there. And
I feel sorry. I feel sorry for Concord.
Yeah,
I actually, I became the
good game at the wrong time.
I became the bastion for Concord on this podcast, and I think that I've not had a moment to talk about it because you and Alex had that joy last week, and that
when they say joy, but
I think that everything that's said about it is correct, and it's just a sad end to something that had potential. And in a couple of months' time, we're going to be like, oh, there's Marvel Rivals. Let's just do that now instead.
We are going to be.
But that's the thing, and that's fine. Do you know? It's just.
I can't wait for Marvel.
I know,
Rivals.
exactly. It's just, yeah.
I mean, like I said, you look at it, compare it. So Sony, I think this is going to be quite a moment for them.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be pivoting the strategy away from the multiplayer live service. And I don't think that's because Astro Bot has come out. It's because of the failure of Concord more than anything else. But publishers will want money first and acclaim second.
Yeah.
And if they can get both, then they're very happy. You put them together, it's a very, very easy decision for the powers that be.
Yeah.
But even if you get one or the other, it breeds the next one and the next one. And I think they're at such a crucial moment, PlayStation, because if they don't take their medicine and learn from Concord Astro Bot out within a month of each other, and one has been a catastrophic embarrassment and the other one has got the potential to be a pretty charming success.
Astro Bot is the brush under the rug that Concord needs.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just...
It's refreshed PlayStation.
Do you know what it is? It's the wee sip of juice that you give your wee one when you give them medicine that they don't like. Do you know what I mean? Like, here's the medicine, but here's a wee sip of juice for it.
I like that yellow penicillin muck.
I always liked it. I always liked banana medicine.
Yeah, no.
But it's like Calpol, though. Calpol's like premium.
Aye, I mean, that's it. You know,
It's
Concord.
the Tanger of medicine.
Concord's the penicillin banana, and Calpol is the Astro Bot, the sugary sweet version, you know. But I do think that. Is this just nostalgia talking as well? Because I know that. It's like we've been through it.
Yeah.
The kids today are like, do you know what, Algin? I like playing Fortnite. I like playing Minecraft. And this game, can I play it with my pals?
Yeah.
Because that's the standard. And it's like, no. Can I play it? And it's like, you play it with your pals. You're sitting next to each other. And
it depends on the age, I think, because I've seen it in real time with my nephews now. They're coming up 14, 15, right? Which is disgusting to say out loud. Absolutely horrendous. But
wait till they get to 22, mate.
They've moved from Minecraft. I've seen it in real time from they did Skylanders when they were growing up. They played in the Wii. They had Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. I hate the slander this is getting. I hate the slander for it. Because it's the best sports game. They played the Minecrafts, you had your Fortnites, Roblox, everything in between. And now they've got to a point where it's FIFA. They're playing that. They're playing that with their mates. They're playing Ultimate Team. They're playing, pro clubs.
Yeah.
But then one of my nephews is massive, and I'm talking massive into Elden Ring at the moment. He's talking to me about weapons in that game that I've not even heard of.
This is the way.
I'm lying because I've heard of everything in that fucking game, right? But
cool.
He's like that to me. Like, I picked up the Black Knife Assassin's Blade, and I was like, solitary tear running down my face. Like, now you're going to have fun.
Right.
But it's just like, it's maturity. Sometimes you do have to go through the Fortnites, the Minecrafts and stuff. It's just, as we've grown up, it's changed. I think that Fortnite and everything and get this bad rep because it's like brain rot. That's what it feels like because we're not in it. Like, it's just, why are you sitting there wasting your time on that shite. It's your mum and dad walking in and you're playing Tekken. Like, it's just like, what is that you're playing and why are you playing it?
Get that off my telly.
It's just like, there's no point in it. But ultimately, times change, and maybe this is the catalyst to be like, look, this is something special here.
Yeah.
Like,
Sony's at their best when they do the single player stuff. And, there's a gap still in Xbox as well. And I think both are quite happy to let Nintendo keep that slice of the pie.
But why?
And they're not going to go for it, but it adds to the portfolio. Instead of adding multiplayer live service crap, add this.
Yeah.
Like, don't just, you've got single player focused games that cater to the older gamers, and then the younger gamers, I think, will still always be crying out for it. And when we kind of look at the grand scheme of things, that is, Astro Bot's the most Nintendo-ass game not made by Nintendo. I've seen in a long
100%.
time, probably ever. But multiplayer games, I always think they get a bad rep. Like, I totally agree with what you're saying, like Fortnite, but I think it always kind of exposes your ass a little bit, because I'm like, you don't play multiplayer games, because I can't sit here with a straight face and be like, they're all crap. No, I will still play Call of Duty. We're playing Black Ops 6.
We'll definitely be playing Call of Duty.
Very much playing that.
Very much so.
And you need that, but it's like the game, Black Ops 6 is going to be absolutely kick-ass by the looks of it. It's fantastic. Like, the most excited I've been for a Call of Duty in a long time.
The longest.
But it's as much the social need that I have. I want to be on the headset chatting to yourself, chatting shite. And I think that's what caters to the kids, because the side-by-side co-op stuff's gone.
Yeah.
But it was a social thing. And you needed a good game to kind of keep the energy going. But you're right. Like, as they mature, they will want some me time and to get lost in it. And I think there is definitely a bit of a generational divide, because that's why you always say, I can't play Call of Duty, I'm just going to get shouted at by 12-year-olds. I'm like, well, have you heard of a party?
Yeah.
It might help you. It's not like it was back in like 2007.
I think what I'm trying to get at here is that if they're moving from, because I don't think I put my point across at all, but if they're trying to move from a Fortnite or a Minecraft or something, they're playing with their mates and they can't be arsed anymore, if they're moving on to single player gaming, what are the options out there for them? Like, my nephew's moving on to one of the hardest games that you can play. Do you know what I mean?
And greatest.
Like, yeah. But what are the options apart from that? Like, I'm thinking about single player games. You could play Final Fantasy, massive open world game, that's fine, but
a great shout.
It's a great shout, but it's just like there seems to be a lot of open world games for us to play. We're fine because we've got games that they're maybe coming out, like a Dragon's Dogma 2. Don't love it, but it's a game that has...
Some would say you hate it,
Scott. I hate it. I saw it come up in that video and I was like, why are you even... Just let this game die. Let it go away and never come back. But it's just... This could be just, that stepping stone into them dipping a toe into single player gaming. Like, it's not... It doesn't always have to be you're online with your mates or you're playing balls to the wall with the hardest games on earth. Like, maybe play Wukong, or you can play Alan Wake. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like there seems to be this divide in that we don't create single player games for younger people anymore.
No,
it's all for adults or for people that are older than 18. It's just like, make games for people to play when they were younger. Like, it's fine to do that, and it kind of seems like this is an admittance of and a realization that that's the case. Like, this is just them saying, look, it doesn't always have to be for the adult, the demographic. It can just be for anyone, and it's cool. That's cool.
And I would love to see more of it, because I think there's almost a bit of an acceptance within the industry, which is like, right, Nintendo can take care of that. That'll be their first console.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it
is
probably will remain.
Aye.
Probably won't, because Nintendo are magicians.
Yeah.
And they have that sense of wonder, and they do make you feel like a kid when you're playing the game in a good way.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll be there for Zelda, we'll be there for Metroid, we'll be there for, Mario, you name it.
I'm not coming back to the Switch until they remake Twilight Princess.
You'll be playing Zelda at the end of the month.
I won't be. I'm not going to buy it.
He's going to do it.
I'm not.
Mark this. This is his...
I'm not the biggest Zelda fan here, and I'll make that point in the next segment.
Oh, dear Lord. Right, okay. Right, so I know I've got this in the bag. But but I think it's when that acceptance that, right, like Nintendo, they take care of it. right, we're now just going to pivot away, because it did, probably right up to maybe about PlayStation 2 time, and it moved into that next generation, 360 and PlayStation 3. It was like the gap started to widen.
Yeah.
And I remember games like, Viva Pinata and stuff like that coming out, and they were still trying. Then generation after that, they just gave
Stopped.
up.
Yeah.
And it was like, do you know what? We're going to cater. This is all about power. All the rest of it, like
Gritty
grown-up gamers,
gritty man walking towards the box art with a gun in his hand.
We have film grain and crimson, and they say swears and all that stuff. Oh, and there's going to be daddy issues as a theme, and it's like, yeah, we get it, but there's such an opportunity to pull them in, because the kids, I think we talked about this many podcasts ago. It's great saying that now. But when the PlayStation 5 had launched, and I remember seeing a lot of parents I can't get one. Why are you adults buying it?
Yeah.
But it's like,
why are you buying it?
Yeah, there's no games for them.
Yeah, exactly.
There's backwards compatibility, but even at that, you go into the PlayStation Plus collection just now on the subscription version. I can't remember the name of it. It's right in my head.
Premium, not premium. The Essentials. Aye.
There's a kids and family section,
and it's full of crap.
60% is old Lego games for 2014.
Yeah,
they did add the Skywalker saga recently, but I'm like, the kids maybe don't want to play just Lego games. And then there's shovelware, Paw Patrol games, and all that. And don't get me wrong, they do their job.
But it's for
very, very young gamers.
But it's not. But you're not.
It's no quality.
There's no quality there, and that's the difference with this. I said it before, many podcasts ago.
Yeah.
But if I were PlayStation, Xbox, I would just be saying to myself, like, you have to believe that the children are our future. Like, you have to, like, teach them well and let them lead the way.
It's true.
It's just that, and I know it's a joke. And Randy Watson, but it's just,
the boy's good.
It's so true. Like, it's just you have the opportunity now to create the next generation of console fans that are going to pay $1,200 for a PlayStation 8. Like, these are the people that in 10 years, 15 years time that are going to be buying brand new consoles themselves. So treat them with the respect and that they deserve. Like, stop just feeding them shite. Just let them eat. Let them eat
good. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't see no PlayStation or Xbox worlds opening up at Universal Studios. There's a reason for that.
Precisely.
There's such a massive opportunity, and Nintendo will always be the Mac Daddy of that. But it doesn't mean that there's not more room to breed the next generation, as you said. So
it's the opposite of it. Nintendo, when an adult game comes out for Nintendo, it's always like, that's a bit of a shock. Do you know what I mean? Like, R-rated game, you're like, oh, ooh. But when you see a younger person's game come out for the PlayStation, the Xbox, it's almost just kind of like, oh, right, okay, like,
yeah. I mean, there's been an element of that playing for Astro Box. I'm like, this is just the best family experience I've had on my console.
Yeah,
and it'd be the same if it's on Xbox. It's like, I would love for them to do that, because I hate browsing Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, and it's like, Dad, I want to play the Peppa Pig game, download it, and it's just it's crap. I'm like, I'd be better reading you the book, to be honest with you, if there is a book. Because I can't stomach the cartoon. I think Peppa's the worst. But Nintendo might be onto something, and maybe Astro Bot can inspire Sony to think a little bit outside the box, because I do think a new champion hath arrived. But speaking of Nintendo, I think it's time that we move on. So what that means, of course, is that it's time for the Pixel Picks Showdown, where each week we each pick a game from our chosen theme and decide which one deserves to live on in the hallowed Pixel Picks list, which is our definitive list of the best games we recommend to pass on to the next generation of gamers. The ones we were just talking about.
The ones we're just talking about.
Now, last week's theme was 2D fighting, with Street Fighter 2 Turbo becoming the latest addition to the list, and Alex officially getting his guest spot on the board. So well done, Alex.
Well done, Alex.
So in this week's showdown, we're going to be debating what the best Nintendo 64 game we think should feature on the Pixel Picks list. Now, not an easy one again.
No,
it's a
not.
toughie. It's a
It's a
toughie.
toughie.
Even though I'm definitely winning. So because of that, I think you should go first. So Scott,
why me?
Give me your honourable mention and your pick. I think because neither of us won last week,
Yeah,
and you weren't here, then
So I get to go first.
Yeah.
Right, okay, I'll do the noble thing then.
Let us all have it.
I'll follow my sword. Honourable mention for me is a game that I sunk many hours into and never completed.
All right.
To this day, have never completed.
Superman 64.
Well, has anyone? I remember playing this game. I can literally remember feeling the controller in my hand playing this game. And the game I'm talking about is GoldenEye.
Ooh.
That is the honourable mention. I have memories of playing that with my brother, mates around the school and stuff like that as well. Kind of coming home from school, running home and playing it. It was perfect. We're talking about, couch, kind of side to side gaming and stuff like that as well. That was perfect for it. The multiplayer aspect of it and the ripple that is still felt to this day with that game. There has not been one singular James Bond game that has given me an experience like that.
No, you're right.
And there never will. And it has Sean Bean's weird face in it.
I mean,
It has Sean Bean's weird face in it. It's just, I think it speaks volume that GoldenEye is the best James Bond film. Easy.
Ooh,
I will fight tooth and nail. I've got a mate, David. He was the one that he's a newer Marvel Snap thing.
Yes.
He's the biggest James Bond fan I have ever known.
Obviously.
And he will slap me upside my head for this. But GoldenEye is the James Bond movie.
Well, obviously, your man is a man of taste because he's a Marvel Snap player. So shout out. He's obviously...
He knows.
Right, we know. GoldenEye is a fantastic Bond film.
The best Bond film.
I wouldn't say it's the best.
It is the best Bond film.
But it can be very subjective.
Pierce Brosnan is the best Bond. And this isn't the argument we're having because we're already gone long here. But
I interject because this is also my honourable mention. So I totally agree everything you're saying. Absolutely everything, because you're right. The couch co-op, it was a core memory.
Yeah.
Everybody that played this game when they're younger, they do remember that. And I did a great job, an odd job, of putting you in Bod's shoes. I just remember the guns and the gadgets. Like,
it's like the watch,
and all that, and then the silenced handgun, and it felt like Bond, and it totally just captured the imagination.
I can remember finishing that first level 3 million times. Yes. Like I can remember doing it 1 million times. I think there was a level in a jungle that I never completed.
That was a nightmare.
And I just
going up the tower and all that.
I never done it, so I was just like, I'll never do it. That'll maybe be a job for Christmas. I'll maybe treat myself at Christmas time and play it on the Switch.
Game Pass.
Well, I'll put it on Game Pass, then I'll do it on there. Don't think it runs particularly well, but I'll try it.
It runs fine. It's just it looks like dog shit.
Oh well, that's good. That's good. I'll kind of take on board. But the game for me, and it could only have been one.
This is the pick.
This is the pick.
The pick.
I thought about your Zeldas. I'm not the Zelda man for this podcast.
Okay,
I am not.
That's fine.
I like Ocarina of Time. I personally think Majora's Mask is better, but I could not make a case for them. I tried to think of other N64 games, and every single other game in my N64 library was either Pokemon Stadium,
so good,
Pokemon Snap,
so good, or
WrestleMania 2000. But it could only be one. And it has to be Super Mario 64.
Yes, I mean, it's a very, very good pick.
It's very good pick. Honestly, like, to take the Mario formula we know and love and throw it into a 3D platformer, it's and do it in the way that actually worked. It's ridiculous. I mean, only Nintendo could have done it.
Total magic.
It is just, it captures everything that we know and love about Mario. Bowser looks weird. Who cares? A phenomenal game. It's just the intro. Like the intro when you see the camera and it comes up to the castle and stuff, and then it's just you're there, jumping out the pipe and you're there, and that's you in the castle, jumping into the paintings, the music, the wah, 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 wah. Like, I can feel it. I can hear it. I can hear it and feel it.
You've been in Peach's castle,
and like the secrets, looking up to the sky and stuff, and you went to the level and you're flying about with a hat and all that. Yep. It's just like, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous, and to this day, it is still ridiculous. Maybe, and this will probably anger one or two people, it doesn't handle as well as most other 3D Mario games.
That can be forgiven.
It can be forgiven.
Yeah.
The camera, okay,
Yeah.
but those are the only two shortcomings I have with this game. It is a phenomenal experience.
That's a 10.
And it's a game that, as I said before, there's games with consoles that you just picture together. Like, you're drawing artwork of a console. It is Super Mario 64 in that console. It is Mario's face being pulled in the menu screen.
Do you remember being in like shopping centres when you were younger and they had Mario 64 on display?
And display?
You go up and just pull his nose.
Pull his nose and stuff. My only memory, well, not my only memory, but one of the biggest memories I have of that is I used to have a neighbour who had an N64, and I never bought Super Mario 64 when it first came out, but he did. And he was like, I don't like it, you can take it.
Oh my God.
And I was like, okay. And
what a day.
Then a few weeks later he was like, have you got that? And I was like, aye, but going to let me keep it for a bit longer. So it was just that's how I fell into it. But what an experience. Like,
I mean,
it's character forming. The games that made us, that is one of the games that made us all who we are today. There would be no Astro Bot without Super Mario 64.
Absolutely not. What, so it could run?
It's just phenomenal. The only thing missing from Super Mario 64 is the big man himself. If he was in that game, it'd be an 11,
Yeah.
Like, I think people have modded them in, or people have found them somewhere, but get Luigi. Give him
Mario 64.
Get him in Mario 64. Get him in there.
I know, because it's always still a thrill in the modern games when you get your
It's just the best.
hands on Luigi.
Like, arguably better than Mario.
Oh yeah, I love Luigi.
Like, Luigi's a better character than Mario.
So
It has
much.
more personality than Mario.
Mhm.
But that's not what we're here for.
No.
So yeah, my pick for this week
Super Mario
has to be
64.
Super Mario 64.
Mm.
And the funny thing is, I know what you're picking.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but I need to, of course, tell you why. We had the same honourable mention, which I think, it could have actually very easily been the pick,
yeah.
because GoldenEye 007 is one of the best games on the console, like, hands down. Like, but of course, I'm picking The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Of course I am, but I also agree with you. I actually prefer Majora's Mask. That's my favourite Zelda game.
Mm-hmm.
But I concede that the impact and legacy of this absolutely perfect treasure of a game, Ocarina of Time, makes it rank above it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because, again, what so Majora's Mask could run. Majora's Mask, of course, admittedly, is of course the more hipster choice of the two, which is why I probably are leaning towards it. But Ocarina of Time is
it's the moon.
pure.
It's the moon.
That's a big stupid face, and also the way they changed the game. But I'm not talking about Majora's Mask. But it's Ocarina of Time did something different. It did something in the way that it showed you that games could be more than everything I suppose we've just talked about on this episode. That you could have a proper adventure, and that it's way ahead of its time. And the content and the way that the game handles, which is informed, even like target lock, something dead simple, now making its way into lots of games. That's like, look at FromSoft games.
Yeah.
Imagine it without it. I think Ocarina did change the game. Not just for the series, of course, but I think just having that scope widened, and you could actually use games to have an adventure, tell a story, have a cast of characters and places that you're going to care about, come on this journey with us. Granted, it did have its pain in the arse moments, like the infamous water temple and stuff like that.
Oh, God.
But I mean, even like the music.
Yeah.
I mean, on the music, it should win alone because it's just so iconic. This, again,
How dare you?
No, I do dare, because it is seriously like not just N64, best games. Like Ocarina of Time is one
Yeah,
that could stand right up there. I think if you're having the greatest games of all time, Ocarina is either going to be number 2 or number 1.
All time?
Yeah. And I think there's ones that you just know are going to be there because they are seminal moments in gaming history.
Yeah.
And I do think there's 2 worlds in the video game space. I think there's one before Ocarina of Time and there's ones after it. And that's how important I think it is. You know, I think it's, without a doubt, Super Mario 64 is a 10, or even like it's a 98 out of 100. Ocarina, 99. Yeah. Ocarina would be the 99, because no game's 100. I think Ocarina of Time is just iconic, legendary. It is the entry. It has to be. Sorry, because I'm like that. Ocarina of Time catered to so many more as well. I remember playing it for the first time when I was younger, and all I had was the experience of what Zelda was beforehand, which I couldn't really make heads or tails of, to be honest with you. I'm like, what am I supposed to do here? Like, and funnily enough, I remember getting like a James Bond game on the Game Boy, which is kind of inspired by Zelda in some ways, where you're just kind of making your way through this 2D massive map world and left to kind of figure it out and get items and move on. And then you kind of, as soon as you start that Ocarina of Time, you hear the music, you see the menu screen and that, and then all of a sudden you're getting up and you're going off on this adventure, kind of that template that Nintendo love, you know. And you're off and you're hooked and you're in. It's like, I just need to get to the next bit. I need to get to the next bit. You know, using the Ocarina itself, all these things. It just kept on going and going and going. And then even I remember the last time I played it recently was on the 3DS. And even playing it there where they had updated the controls now, so that's not fair because we're not talking about that version.
Exactly,
But it's the content of it. It still stands up to this point where it was special and it was great. And I thought they've modernized this fantastically. And then I compared that to Super Mario 64 because this came out and I thought Super Mario 64 is like an absolutely amazing game, one of the GOATs. But I remember playing that in the Super Mario Collection on the Switch. And I felt the same thing, and I was like,
but you're comparing that to the other games that are on that as well. Like you're a Galaxy man. Like,
oh, I'm a Galaxy man, but it's chocolate as well. But it's one of those ones. I think
no, Dairy Milk's the one. I'm not having the slander.
I'll take either just now, mate. I'm absolutely ganting, but it's the experience of how good it is standing the test of time as well. Now I'm comparing it to the Ocarina updates as well, and I do think that Ocarina of Time looks, gameplay, modernised controls as well, that'll be something that will just scale a lot better than Super Mario 64. Sadly, because I hate to admit that, because I love Super Mario 64. You know, it's the second best Mario game out there, to be honest with you. It's the Galaxy.
I wouldn't even say it's my favourite Mario.
Then they ruined it with Sunshine.
How?
But,
no, I'm not going to get into it. But I can't stand for this.
That's it. I'm like Kamala Harris.
Honestly, Super Mario Sunshine is the best Mario game. But I get, you said it before. It's comparing tens here. Like it's apples and oranges. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no wrong answer.
There is no wrong answer. There's never
with,
a wrong answer. But I do think that Ocarina of Time, when you said when you say N64, I do think Ocarina of Time is the gold standard on that. I do think.
I think that for me, it's not, because I'm not the Zelda man. Like, I don't have any love in my heart for Ocarina of Time. My favourite Zelda is Twilight Princess. So it's like, I don't have any love in my heart for Zelda because I just never played it. That and Skyward Sword, but it's just, you know,
early point in the lore.
It's just, you know, I'm not unhappy about the decision because I get that without Ocarina of Time, you do not have 90% of the games that we have today. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like, it's the blueprint for the majority of the stuff that we play at the moment, and you could play it tomorrow and still have as good a time that you had when it came out.
Yeah.
And it has possibly, without not kind of out with Tears of the Kingdom, it has the best looking Ganondorf.
It does.
Because Tears of the Kingdom Ganondorf is top tier. Like,
I mean, that nose is
it's
tremendous.
just what a handsome man. But yeah, I'm happy to go with it because Ocarina of Time's class.
Okay, so then that's official. So this week's entry is The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. If you are someone that is like Scott and disagrees, let us know. I'd love to hear the argument. I'd love to hear someone's viewpoint in the Pixel Picks list. And we said this last week with Alex. We're going to have to we'll pick a week where we go through the list one by one. Good to kind of compare it and almost rank it. Just to see like what is the top of the list.
see if we regret any of the decisions that we made.
Yeah, or even just I'd love to at one point just kind of go back and play these games and come back and talk about them. You know, some of them might be hard to source, but we'll do our best. Emulation exists, I hear. Somebody told me, bad man. But of course, that brings us to the end of this week's podcast. So thank you once again for joining us. It's been a bumper one. I think it's officially the longest one we've done. But it's been great, of course, having you back, Scott. And if you like what you hear and enjoy the podcast, leave us a wee 5-star review. Of course, that helps us out and makes a massive difference. So, of course, Scott, that means that it's test time. Where can people find you online if they want to hear your yammerings?
Llamaman91 on X. I'm referring to X now.
I've got to give it to you.
I've bowed down to Elon Musk.
That's only because he's got beef with Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah, that was the. I'm sorry, but that was the creepiest thing ever.
Yeah,
almost made me eat a Swiftie for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
creep show.
Just
creep
like,
show.
The guy in your school that would say weird stuff, you'd be like, "Fuck off." He's peace.
I mean, he's just upset because Taylor Swift, what she does, what she says will happen, and call time on that election. But of course, if you want to hear me blab crap at Elon Musk and talk about said election, you can follow me at Carmelite on Twitter. I won't call it X. And of course, thank you to our producer and music man, the talented and ever so handsome Mr. Sean Murray, who is putting in the overtime tonight to make sure this episode reaches you tomorrow morning. So thank you, Sean. We love you. And we may be having him on the podcast one day soon.
I want him here.
And I cannot wait for that because that's going to be something really nice and wholesome. Really look forward to that one. And of course, you can listen to the next episode on all major podcast platforms and follow us on Twitter at pixel_parents. And of course, write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. But until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and thanks for listening.
They are eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They are eating our pets.
Play Alan Wake too.